All right, welcome everyone. I'm Kathy Mazak, and today we are talking about something that I've been having opinions about for a while. And so I'm so excited to get to kind of work through it with you today a little bit. And that is this concept of job crafting. I think it's really related to all the hot button terms that kind of started coming out along with the Great Resignation and quiet quitting and act your wage or act your salary and other things like that have been very hot over the last 12 to 18 months. And I always like to look out at what's going on in other industries or in the job market in general and think about, well, how do these things apply or don't apply, right, to us in academia? So that's what today's workshop is about. And we're going to use we're going to dig into the really actually pretty academic way of talking about these things. Well, the way I think we're talking about these things, and that's called job crafting. And I'm going to talk specifically today about how you can use this concept of job crafting to, publish more things or publish the things that you want to publish, particularly over the next year. In the second part of the workshop, I'm going to be applying the concept of job crafting very specifically to our Navigate program. So those of you who are considering joining Navigate, or even if you've joined it before and you want to go back and do a refresher or anything like that, if you're considering joining Navigate, you should have all your questions answered, and there will be time for questions too at the end. By the end of this workshop. But if you're here, you're just like, I just want to know about this thing, you're going to see kind of 10 ways that you can job craft in order to have the end result of more publications. Yes, we are recording, Monica. Don't worry, you could be able to catch up later. And thank you for coming, even if you can't stay the whole time. I'm just glad that everyone is here. All right. So right now, I just want to let coaches and team know that I'm not looking at the chat. So go ahead and answer people's questions in the chat. If you have a question that you want to make sure I get to, the best way to do it is to use the Q&A feature in Zoom to put it in there. And that way we can make sure that your question gets answered. And there'll be plenty of time, I think, today. So this workshop is called Job Crafting Your Way to More Publications. It is also a look inside our Navigate program. So to start, I just want to start with this little exercise. I know we're heading into, we're wrapping up a year, we're heading into 2023. I want you to just take a moment to go ahead and write down the working titles of 3 things you would like to publish next year. Okay, 3 things that are maybe not publish, but let's say submit, that you'd like to actually submit over the next year. So go ahead and do that. See what comes to your mind. You can use your own working titles. It's just between you and you, so don't worry. Keep it handy. We're going to come back to it later. So just to warm up and to get to know each other a little bit better, I want to know if this sounds like you. What worked for you as a PhD student to get your writing done maybe just doesn't work for you as a professor. Okay, so let me know if that's true for you. The reason probably that this is true, if it is how to figure this out in terms of well, what will work for me is actually about job crafting. I'm going to define job crafting in a minute, but basically the idea is that when you're a PhD student, the job, right, is completely different than the job that you have now as a professor. And so your responsibilities, your expectations, your relationships with other people, all of that is different from what it's like to be a professor or a researcher or, whatever your academic title is here as you're joining. And what that means is that your relationship with writing can be different. Your approach to writing kind of needs to be different. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I also want to know, does this sound like you? You feel pulled in 1,000 directions by all your responsibilities And what that means is that you end up with publications that get like stuck, like they don't make it all the way to submit. Instead, they're partially drafted and then they kind of peter out, and you end up with quite a few publications like half done. Again, something that can be resolved through the process of job crafting that we're going to talk about today. And then, is this the voice in your head? My to-do list never ends, and so I never find time to write. Or I know I need to publish so I can get the job or I can get promoted, but it just keeps falling to the bottom of my list, right? Like I know I need to get the writing done. I know the publications are important, but I'm having trouble actually moving them out the door. So if any of this sounds like you, then it is time to start job crafting. Okay, so what is this? What is job crafting? So this is the actual academic term for what I've been calling career design for a while. But turns out, like so many things, right, that there's an academic term for this. And of course, people who study it, mostly in business schools or in organizational structure, people who study the way that organizations work. And I'm going to give two definitions. The first one is from Berg, Dutton, and Wereninsky. The last name there, Wereninsky, was on the reason I was able to find this term was that I heard an NPR podcast that she was on. I was like, oh, that's what we do. So job crafting captures what employees do to redesign their own jobs in ways that can foster job satisfaction, as well as engagement, resilience, and thriving at work. All of these bolded terms are mine, right? So hold on. Whoops. Moved my mouse and then I lost the slide there. So all these bolds are mine. And so we really are, what I really love about job crafting, or the concept of job crafting, is that it's a bottom up kind of from the employee up through the institution kind of change, which is my favorite kind of change. Here's another definition from Lazzara, Timms, and DeGennaro from 2020. So a more updated version. This was on a review article. Proactive behavior intended to, this is what job crafting is, right? Proactive behavior intended to better align the job with the individual's personal characteristics. Okay, so I love, again, these bolds are mine. Proactive behavior and alignment, right? Like this is something that we teach in our programs all the time. Now, why are we talking about job crafting? I mentioned it kind of at the top of this workshop. These are like headlines I just pulled over the past 18 months or so. We have one from June of this year that says the Great Resignation is not over. A fifth of workers plan to quit in 2022. Another one, a recent one, that step aside quiet quitters. TikTok wants workers to act your wage instead. This one from the Pew Research Center, also about the large number of people who have quit. And then the Planet Money one, there's actually a great podcast episode through Planet Money. That's an NPR podcast about the economics behind quiet quitting, what we should call it instead. And then, of course, I love the Atlantic title because the Atlantic has to get in there, right, with its particular point of view. It says, quiet quitting is a fake trend. And listen to the subtitle. What people are now calling quiet quitting was in previous decades simply known as having a job. So I thought that was hilarious. So all of this is to say that there is buzz and there is like a renewed interest in the job you have, right? When so many people went online or lost their jobs when COVID happened, it really has led to a lot of reflection about what am I doing with my career, right? And the idea of just, if you've never heard of the term quiet quitting, it's totally a TikTok thing. The idea from those who see it from a positive perspective is that you're just going to do your job. You're not going to do this overwork, staying late, over the top thing. And the reason I think it's worth talking about that in academia is that that culture of overwork is so normalized in academia, right? Like it's totally normalized to think about your work as something you could be doing all the time, and very dangerously in academia, because so many of us come into the scholarly life because we believe deeply in scholarship, because we believe in education, because we have a passion for the thing that we study. Because of that, we can let the job overflow into every moment of the day. And whether it physically overflows, like you're actually grading at night, or on the weekends, or whether mentally it continues to take over your life, it is not super healthy for that to happen. So I think that a lot of these trends that you've seen in the past 12, 18 months, these buzzy kind of headliney trends, TikTok trends about the workplace, about quitting, about how we should think about our jobs, right? All of that is a pushback against this culture of overwork. And I think that that's why it's worth talking about it for academics, because the culture of overwork is so normalized. So in 2017, I designed this program called Navigate Your Writing Roadmap. And I designed it to teach a process of shaping your job in order to allow for writing and publishing. That was like my original intention behind the program. And that's job crafting. So this idea of like, you're going to take control of your job, you're going to, from the bottom up, you're going to influence and shape what your job is. That's job crafting. And we teach a process for doing that inside of Navigate, and really in all of our programs. So 5 years later, Navigate has helped over 500 academics job craft their way to more publications. And I'm going to show you today how. I'm going to be very specific about each module of the program and how it works towards job crafting. Now, in the literature on job crafting, and this is not my field, but I did read up on this. And there's at least 3 forms of job crafting. There's some debate over types of job crafting and how to create, how to categorize different types of job crafting. But I thought that this was helpful. So 3 forms of job crafting from Berg et al. One is altering the boundaries of your job. Okay, so they studied people, they looked at what they were doing, and here's 3 things they were doing: altering the boundaries of their jobs. Number 2 was changing their relationships at work. And number 3 was altering how they perceive tasks. Okay, so boundaries, relationships, and perception of tasks are 3 ways that people proactively changed their jobs. Now, Grant Vallone and Ensher in 2017 wrote specifically about mid-career faculty crafting their jobs. Okay, so they wrote specifically about mid-career faculty and job crafting, and they identified in their study with professors, mid-career professors, 3 kinds of job crafting that roughly map onto those 3. They call them, number 1, relational recrafting. Okay, so in other words, changing your relationship to your department chair, your colleagues, your collaborators, your students, your mentees, your dean, your co-authors. Okay, so having that really, I was going to say methodically, that's not what I mean, intentionally shaping that relationship that you have with all of these people who surround you as a professor. Okay, so that was something that this study, which was with mid-career professors, found. That's one way that you can create job satisfaction, is by relational recrafting, changing the relationships you have in your job. Another thing here would be finding a peer group, right? There was one professor in that study who said, to paraphrase, I hated my department and everybody was mean to each other. And so what I did was I found collaborators in other departments. I was able to see, other departments working in a healthy way, and that restored my excitement for the job. So something to note, I think that's really important, is that job crafting is good for institutions, because if you can job craft, you're actually much less likely to leave your job searching for a job that's a better fit. Because what you do is, by your own agency, you make your job a better fit. Now, is this possible all the time for everybody? Absolutely not. Okay. So, but for many people, many professors, many academics are like, oh, I'm just at this horrible place because all of this is true for me. So what am I going to do? I should be at a research university, right? So, or I should be over here at this type of university. And that might be true. And it's not a bad idea, obviously, to think about what kind of university is the best fit for me. But also, you have a ton of agency in shaping your own job through job crafting. That can make your life, your everyday life, so much better, and you can make you so much more satisfied, right? Another thing, right, is alter the boundaries. And Grant, Vallone, and Ensher called this task recrafting. So, for example, you can change the number and scope of the tasks that you do. You can align tasks with the amount of time you have, and you can hold boundaries around time in different ways. Okay, task recrafting. So if you've been letting this is something that happens mid-career a lot. So I'll just give you this example. You get tenure or whatever your promotion is in your system, and then all of a sudden you are supposed to be the one who protects the junior faculty from everything. And so like you have all this more stuff put on your plate because what you're trying to do is protect junior faculty's time. It's not a bad thing. Nobody would fault you. It's a wonderful intention. And if you're always protecting someone else's time, your time to do what you want to do, or you are called to do, or the contribution you want to make starts to dissolve away. So finding that relationship between protecting other people's time and protecting your time is a really important thing to do mid-career. The third thing in the Grant, Vallone, and Ensher study of mid-career faculty job crafting, they found that professors did cognitive recrafting. And this is absolutely my favorite one, because this is about your perception of what you do. Okay. They call it cognitive recrafting. So you can align tasks and relationships, right, with your academic mission. That's how we teach it inside of our programs. You can change the way you think about the work that you do. You can develop a writing mindset that will support publication. And all of this is less, this third part, the cognitive recrafting or the perception of your tasks, is less about the actual task and more about how you think about the task, right? So that's like really important. Perception is very, very important with how you're going to go and actually do these kinds of, like, make your job more satisfying. All right. So here's the big idea, just to summarize, right? The big idea is that you have agency over your time. You also have agency over your thoughts and your relationships, and you can wield that agency to meet your publication and career goals. Navigate guides you through a process for doing this. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're going to learn about how today. But even if you're not interested in joining Navigate and you're just here because you're intrigued by the job crafting idea, you're going to see what I think are the 10 areas of focus you need to engage with in order to do job crafting that is going to lead to more publications. All right. So my goal today is actually to inspire you to take agency over your job so that you can publish to meet your career goals. Now, this is the way that we talk about what we do inside of Navigate. There's 3 main areas that we work. And again, for job crafting, this would be the 3 main areas you would want to work on in order to proactively alter your current job in order to make it more satisfying, more engaging, and just better for you, right? So there's 3 areas as professors that we really need to work on, and figure out what the systems that are best for us. We need to have time management systems. So we need to get really, really good at managing our time, including boundaries, perceptions of tasks, and all of those. All of this is involved with time management. We need to have writing systems. So we need to have an approach to writing that we can rely on. We need to create a positive relationship with our writing. That's something that we work on a lot in Navigate. And we need to have a writing system. And I don't like to call people resilient because I have mixed feelings about that. But your writing system should be resilient in the sense that if you stop writing for some amount of time because something else comes up, or you put a writing project down, you have the tools to pick it back up. That's why it's called a system, that you know how best you write, when you write best, how long your writing sessions could be, all of that kind of stuff. You need to have an approach to writing that you can rely on. The third area is planning systems. And so when you plan your pipeline, when you really have a good, a plan for the next year, a vision for the next 5 years, then you are much more likely to successfully job craft, because you're thinking about, okay, what is it that looks like the job I want? And then you are basically reverse engineering that, so that, and making a plan and taking action towards that. Okay. So again, this term job crafting, if you came in late or you missed the definition, it's really the proactive work that employees do in order to make their job more aligned with their own personality and interests, and to make the job ultimately more satisfying. So this is like kind of the framework, right, for our Navigate program, and for what we need to do as professors in order to job craft. We need to make sure that we're intentional about our time. Remember, job crafting talked about setting boundaries, and also how we perceive tasks. We have to have a writing system, and then we need to have project management and planning systems that let us dream about what we want that future to look like, and then help create it for ourselves. So I'm going to tell you about 3 people who went through this process in our Navigate program. But I'm going to, again, everything I do today, I'm just going to relate right back to this job crafting idea. So this is Selena. As a new mom, she was trying to figure out how her goals and values could align with her dreams in academia. Navigate helped her turn her dreams into reality. So she said, through Navigate, I've found strength in community and the amazing coaches, got the book contract I dreamed of, and continue to have doors open that align with my academic mission statement. And one of the things that we talk about in all our programs is that once you've defined an academic mission statement and use it in order to align the types of projects you take on, you use it to say yes to some things, no to other things. You're basically taking all the things you do and aligning it behind that mission, which is job crafting. Like, that is absolutely exactly job crafting, right? This is what I want to achieve. And here's how I'm going to align all the activities and tasks I do underneath that or towards that, so that I can achieve it. And so once you have that mission statement, then you can much better align all the things you do, right? That idea of recrafting tasks, right? That one of the articles talked about, or making sure your tasks, re-envisioning your tasks so that they fit under that mission statement. That's really important and very, very powerful. Here's Kimberly. Kimberly was post-tenure when she did Navigate. She felt like she was doing more of the less important things than she was doing before. She even questioned if she wanted to be a faculty member, which, again, right? Great resignation. A lot of people were like, maybe this isn't for me. If I can't make this, if my lifestyle that I want and my job are at odds, right? I would like to sleep sleep late on the weekends and be with my family, versus I'm grading all weekend, or I can only get writing done on the weekends. Those things are like two sets of values that are in conflict, unless you can align them together, right? Unless you can do the job crafting that's going to get you, like for Kimberly she was doing more less important things, right? She had to basically put boundaries around the tasks that she does in order to make her career meaningful again. And it made her say like, oh yeah, that I do want to be a faculty member, right? So she used Navigate to feel like she was really important again and not just a cog in the wheel. And this is Nicole. Nicole's when she did Navigate, she was pre-tenure at a teaching intensive university with a 4-4 teaching load. She was not willing to give up her research, right? She loved her research and she loved teaching. She wanted to do both. Even though when you want to do both, as many of you know, that might make you feel like really pulled in a lot of directions. So after Navigate, she impressed her colleagues by being a junior faculty member who stood up for herself and shaped her career. And that career shaping is job crafting. And this is exactly my own story as well. I had a 4-4 teaching load and I was constantly creating space for research because it's what I love to do. So I also love teaching, so I loved all the things. I love the teacher scholar idea. But it took like very intentional moves, which I've documented in Navigate, but like very intentional moves in order to be able to do both of the things, right? Like be a great researcher and teach the 4-4, and bring in grant funds and publish, right? But I wanted it all. And so I needed to job craft in order to get that. So I'm going to talk a bit now about the Navigate program and how each part of it works towards job crafting. Remembering again, I just want to say, job crafting is good for you. And it's good for your institution, because if you can use your agency to really create the kind of job that you want within the institution where you are, your institution gets to retain you. All the literature about job crafting says job crafting is good for businesses. Job crafting is good for employers, right? So that's something to think about as you are putting up boundaries, as you're saying no to some things, as you're trying to shift focus, even when other people don't want you to. It is good for everyone if you can retain your job, actually. Of course, if you want to switch jobs, actually Kimberly switched jobs in the end. It was years, probably 4 years or so, between when she did Navigate and then she did Elevate, and then she switched, she got a new job. But it was because at the end of the day, she couldn't job craft her way to what she wanted at the institution that she was at. She tried. And she had a values misalignment between her and her institution. And then she was able to go on the market post tenure, get a big salary bump, and teach less courses and really get like the support that she wanted to for her research. That's what she wanted, right? And she was able, because she could identify that's what she wanted, she was able to go out and get it. All right, so now I'm going to shift in the second half here of the workshop to talk about Navigate. Again, relating it to job crafting. If you have questions about Navigate, I would love to answer any questions you have. You can go ahead and put them in the Q&A. I've got my coaches in the chat. So, I've got all my team in the chat so they can answer your questions. So Navigate is a year-long program that helps women and non-binary professors double their publication output in a year by implementing 10 productivity systems supported by coach and peer accountability. So productivity systems, these systems I'm going to show you are the way to job craft. We're going to be job crafting through all of these things. So I'm going to show you all about that. What we're looking for is a diverse group of scholars who are ready to take action to control their careers through publications with the support of community. And just a little note, this is the last time that we're offering Navigate at this price point and in this format. So if what I present today sounds good to you and it is what you want to do, then I would encourage you to enroll today. And I have there's a special fast action bonus. If you enroll today, enrollment closes tomorrow. So Navigate is perfect for women and non-binary professors at any stage in their tenure track or equivalent journey, and also good for researchers, instructors, postdocs, late stage PhD students, if, and this is the qualifier, okay? So, because I think I saw in the chat that somebody's like, I'm starting a postdoc, is this for me? So if you're ready to take control of your career, hold boundaries, and transform your writing and publishing practices. So if you're in a postdoc, and maybe you haven't started, so you're not sure, but just to say, if you're in a postdoc and you can't hold boundaries, right? Like you, either because you're unwilling to, which is, you know, people are in different stages, or because your postdoc advisor is not making it easy for you to hold boundaries. Same with instructors, right? If you're trying to work 5 or 6 teach 5 or 6 courses over 2 or 3 campuses, you absolutely are welcome in Navigate if you're ready to do these things. Okay, so it's not as important your career stage as it is your readiness to make these changes, right? Your readiness to job craft. All right, so with Navigate, you will implement a customized, consistent writing system, submit more publications, and confidently reach the next level in your career. Unlike other professional development programs that generically teach you to meet your institution's tenure and promotion requirements, Navigate is a complete system for using writing and publishing to craft your career. That's what we're really talking about in Navigate. On your terms, right? We're not going to tell you how you should craft your career to be. We are going to give you the process through which you will use your agency to craft what you want, despite your institution, not because of it. Some people often ask like, well, what's the difference between Navigate and like the NCFDD bootcamp program? I would say it's true that Navigate and our other programs are advanced professional development programs. So NCFDD gives a great base for professional development for professors. Our programs are more advanced than that. So we actually love when people have done NCFDD first and then come in to our programs, because they have a better sense of what works for them and what doesn't. But basically these are programs. Our Navigate program, although it's our entry-level program, it is really more job crafting focused and more publication focused than other professional development programs that are out there. And certainly more so than professional development that your institution offers as like one-off workshops and that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so during the course of the year, you will hit these 5 publication-focused program milestones. The first will be that you'll be able to hold 2 hours of writing per week on your schedule. You will, as honored and as like, you know, unless you decide to not do them or have a derailing event, you will be able to do that. Number 2, that you have your publication pipeline mapped out, and I'll talk a little bit about the importance of that in a second. Again, job crafting. The pipeline is a high-level project plan. So it sets the stage for like, what are you going to focus on? And the way that we teach creating the publication pipeline, it really helps you focus and align what you're doing in terms of publishing with your academic mission statement. You're also going to, number 3, 4, and 5 is like, you're going to publish 3 things, right? So you're going to submit an almost done article. You're going to create 2 custom publication milestones, because of course, with everything we teach you, you are going to be able to determine like, what are the other publication milestones I want to hit? Is there an article? Is there a grant? Like, what are the things? You get to decide that. We give you a little coaching around it to help you make the decision. But basically, over the course of the year, you'll be accomplishing these 5 program milestones. So your year in Navigate starts by learning our 10 core systems over about 15 weeks. Okay, so we start with our 10 core systems in about 15 weeks. They are digital modules that you will complete on your own pace, at your own pace. Each system includes video modules, simple, effective assignments, and fillable PDF worksheets. So if you enroll now, then if you get started in December, then December, January, February, you will have gotten through all of the modules, and you will have completed the first 2 milestones. I'll talk about that more in a second. If you're having trouble getting in to, not getting in like accessing, but taking the time to do the modules, we have created them as a podcast for you. So if you're like me, you like to walk. If you're like me, you end up with a lot of time in the car with the kids, then or a lot of time just running around and doing errands, you can be listening to all the modules as a podcast rather than having to watch videos. There are videos as well. So they're the same thing, same content, but you can consume it as an audio right from your phone, from your podcast app on the go. So let's get started with these systems. And again, this is the process of job crafting that we teach. We start with time management. The first module, the first thing you'll learn is, we call it the mission method. And you are going to write your academic mission statement. You're going to uncover your deep writing why. And you're going to learn how to use that academic mission statement to make decisions. Now, remember back to what job crafting is, right? Job crafting is managing or having agency over the tasks that you do, having agency over the boundaries, and also having agency over relationships, right? The academic mission statement is going to help you do all of those things. Then we're going to take you through a process of aligning your activities under or along with the mission statement, so that everything you do is contributing to your mission. We're going to support you and teach you ways make you have a plan to quit the things that are not in alignment for you, and to align the things that can't be quitting. So the cohort is starting as soon as you enroll. So it starts when you sign up. And basically, so thank you for that question in the chat. I just happened to see it go past. So you can start now. You get access to all the modules at once. So you could binge them if you wanted, especially that's why we like to enroll before Christmas, because some people like to use their Christmas break or part of their holiday break or their semester break to get ahead a little bit, but you don't have to. We provide you with a syllabus that takes you on a nice pace through all the modules, but you get access to all of them at once. So the last part of the time management is freeing time. So in this part, it's there's many layers to this part, but basically we're going to teach you about setting boundaries around time, creating systems for managing teaching prep, student mentoring, managing meetings, all of these kinds of things, like the everyday life of being a professor. We're going to give you templates and workflows and systems in order for you to be able to carve that time so that there's spaciousness for thinking and space for writing and publishing. And just a little note from a client, she said, it's just that your course had a mega impact on my life, even if right now I haven't been able to write much. But I have the mission statement on the wall, a pipeline printed out and posted on a magnetic board, a functioning bullet journal, and my work life mostly under control. I'm better at planning than ever before, and also better at setting aside non-work time. So if those sound like goals you want to achieve, our program is going to help you do that. Okay. The other part here, and this might have less to do with job crafting, but the things are so related, is having a writing system. So here you'll learn in each module, there's 3 modules here as well. You'll learn about our soaring versus slogging idea, which basically is that you are going to create a relationship with your writing through the techniques we teach in the program that will help repair your relationship with writing. So many of us have been burned by reviewer number 2, or even our advisors, or, it's scary out there to publish your research, right? And so sometimes it can feel really awful to write, and it can create this almost animosity with our writing. We're going to repair that using our methods, so that your writing practice feels good, has momentum, and stays consistent. Again, this is all about agency, changing your perception of what you're doing, right? We're going to teach you how to set goals that you can accomplish. Again, like figuring out what motivates you, what your timelines are, and really having like a goal setting and tracking system for your writing. And then also, your mindset. And this is so important. That's why I loved in the job crafting literature that so much of it is about employees changing their perception of their jobs, because that's what mindset is. Mindset is changing the way that you think about something and your beliefs about something. And that is so important. It is like the most job crafty thing you can do here is like adopt an abundance mindset around your publications and around your life as a professor in general. So mindset. Now, when those are the first 6 modules. At the end of it, that's about 6 weeks into the program, 6 to 8 weeks. And you will then have, if you go through this process, you will have 2 hours of writing on your schedule each week. So I want you to think back to the very beginning. If you were here for the first slide, we talked about, I asked you to think of 3 things that you would like to publish next year. So I would love for you to just think, this is just for you to ponder. If you had 2 hours of writing that you knew you would be able to accomplish every week, is that enough to get those things out compared to maybe what you're doing right now? So something to think about. Then the last part of the recorded modules of the program are all about pipeline and planning. So we teach you how to break projects into tasks and predict how long it'll take you to do them. This is writing project management, really, really important, really builds confidence. And then we teach you our method for the power pipeline, which is a pipeline that is very much aligned with your academic mission statement and where things flow out. It is a curated pipeline. It is not a pipeline where you're just trying to publish everything. It's a pipeline that's very selective. It should be hard to get into your pipeline. So that's the concept there. And then we help you to create a 1-year writing plan and a 5-year plan. So those things, again, are the plans that are going to help you reverse engineer the job crafting that you need. When you're done that, you will have your publication pipeline mapped out. And these 2 milestones you will accomplish in the first 15 weeks of the program. Remember, it's a year long. It's a year long. So that's all those things. And we were like, great, you're done. Except no, we realized there was something missing. And this was like really Gina and I, our coach Gina and I really thinking like about this. And we thought like, what could you publish if you had a whole year of the absolute best writing support that you could have? And then we started to design that. So daily support. We have a co-writing room with times that everybody meets, or many people meet at different times, and it's also always open. So if you want to just pop in there, you met a friend in the program and you want to meet together to write, we have a place for you to do that. So that helps you make a date with your writing. Co-writing is a technique that we teach in the program. It's not rocket science. It's really just having a friend and meeting together to write together. And then we also have the daily support of an online community, which we run through Slack. It's not a social media group. It is a group that's dedicated just to our programs. And in there, we share tips, tricks, debrief coaching calls, celebrate writing. Lots of things happen inside that online community. You get to be together with your cohort. We also have weekly mindset coaching. And this, I think, is like the key thing to making this year like totally worth it. And that is a 30-minute group coaching call. Every Monday, we do them Monday at 11:30 Eastern and Tuesdays at 8:00 a.m. Eastern. Both of those calls are live. They're half-an-hour calls. delivered by a coach. It's the same content both times. You basically, you're invited to come if you want to come to both, but it's the same thing. So it's basically meant to hit different time zones, right? So that happens weekly. It's like a 30-minute little injection of writing mindset help. And they are really beautiful. Here's somebody who wrote about how much they loved that call, the group call. We use breakout rooms. So the coach starts you and then you get into breakout rooms, then you come back. This person wrote, big love for the call today. Thanks to all. We shared, it gave us an opportunity to talk about our common issues. So that's something that's awesome because we are connecting with people across career level and field and everything. We also offer you support by doing at least twice a year. We do a guided writing sprint where everybody in the community is working for 2 weeks using our writing sprint method, which we also teach you to significantly move a project along or right on out the door. We can use a sprint to move a project out. We also have in our Slack channel, we have a channel called Ask a Coach where you can, if you get stuck or something happens, you can get writing and publication and career advice there. And we coach you around each of the milestones that I outlined before. So the 5 milestones of the program, you're going to get, when you join, you're going to get a syllabus for the program. And it has on it these milestones. When you get to the date that your milestone is due, you are going to submit a form, whether you've hit that milestone or not. This is a way for us to keep track, like how are things going? Are you behind? Are you not behind? Nobody is behind, by the way. You can there is no behind in this program. That's why we need to know at the different milestones, like more or less where you are so that we can help you. And we have our beautiful coaching team. Look at that new picture that we got taken. Isn't that pretty? We have our beautiful coaching team, Thea, Rocio, and Gina. Rocio, I don't have an accent on the I have to fix that. Okay. So this is our team. They'll be looking at your milestone. They're the people who are running the Monday and Tuesday Momentum Mindset calls. And then they also are the ones who are looking at the milestones as you submit them, offering you email feedback. Sometimes we record a video and say like, hey, what about this? How's this going? That kind of thing. Or just celebrate with you. If you hit the milestones, we're like, yes. And we send you a really exciting, happy video. So coaches are there to support you along the way. They're also in the Slack group to help you along. They run the sprints and all of that. We also have something special and important for our BIPOC faculty who are in our programs. We have Coach Thea, who runs a monthly group coaching call. She is trained in diversity, equity, and inclusion and trauma response, and she runs a call specifically for our BIPOC faculty. And that is open to you if you join our program. It's a monthly, I think they're actually 90 minutes. Call where we're developing community in there. We, not me, all of the BIPOC members led by Thea once a month. So these 3 milestones, the last 3 milestones, you accomplish these with all of that support that I just mentioned over the course of the year. Okay. So everything keeps rolling, right? Like you've seen all the modules, you've done all that work. Now it's time to create practices out of what you learned, right? And we do that and we help you do that with our daily support, with our weekly mindset coaching calls, with our milestones and all of the support I just mentioned. So you end up with your 3 main areas enveloped in exceptional support. And we think that if you do this, we confidently can say that you will 2x your publications in the next year. So I just want to circle back. I'm almost done and ready to take all the questions. Check the publications list that you wrote down at the very beginning of this workshop. Would these be published if you had this level of support? If you had co-writing, if you had coaching calls, if you had all of this, would that help you get those publications out? Also, I just want to say, the reason that we say there is no behind in our programs is that it's a whole year long. There's a lot of ebb and flow. And we think that through the work you'll do in our programs, you will learn how to manage that ebb and flow of your participation and in your academic year, right? This is something that we have to learn how to do. What we teach and we advocate for riding ebbs and flows rather than this very capitalist, patriarchal, like must be the same all the time. Like, no, your productivity is not the same all the time. Your level of energy is not the same all the time. So there's ebbs and flows. And one of the things that's really important is learning how to ride those. Like sometimes things are flowing, sometimes things are ebbing. How do you get yourself back to flow if you're in an ebb? That kind of thing. So I want to just tell you real quick the bonus, then I'm going to hit the questions. If you join tonight's by midnight, now enrollment closes tomorrow. If you join tonight by midnight, we are going to give you a program called R&R Toolkit. Now, R&R Toolkit is a program, like a little short course that we developed. You could totally do it in a weekend. For how to, quickly turn around a revise and resubmit decision. So it includes a workshop about when you get a revise and resubmit, what you should do, a resubmission letter template. I never know what to write in those letters, so I made a template letter so that you can just copy that and alter it a little bit and use that. An R&R decision flow chart, which is going to help you decide whether you're gonna revise and resubmit or whether you're gonna just not do it, and submit someplace else. A resubmission project calendar, a revision planner, and my favorite part, which is the email template pack, which is basically pre-written emails for you that you might use during your revise and resubmit process, like, queries to the editor, deadline extension asks, and other things. So this is yours. If you join us by tonight at midnight, I am going to open the chat and put the link. There's the link for joining in the chat. I'm going to tell you right now what it costs. So don't worry, I'm getting there. So these are all the things that you get when you join Navigate. It has a total value of almost $20,000. If you were to get, weekly group coaching, it would be, all of these things have a high value right now in the coaching marketplace, but you get to join for $29.97 or $297 a month for 12 months. This is the last time we're offering this program at this price in this format. So the price will be going up in 2023. So if you want to get in now, I would suggest you do it before tomorrow night and just do it tonight, because then you get the R&R Toolkit thing. All right. A couple of, things that our clients have said. I'm astonished. I've never felt better about my work. This one is, hitting a big milestone draft, submitting that thing that's been sitting around for so long, right? This person who said, I upped my writing game. I feel really satisfied. The time investment in the program has paid off. This participant said, I really feel like I have not just tools for getting my important work done, but a sense of empowerment and perspective about what really matters to me. So I put the link to join in the chat there. Again, it's $2,997. Just want you to think before I wrap here, imagine how you feel a year from now when you've doubled your publication output without doubling the time that you work, and all those publications on your list were all out under review. Wouldn't that feel great? And also think about your future academic career, right? Because what you're really learning here is job crafting, and that's for life. All the impactful work that you have inside of you that needs to get out. How could creating a thriving writing practice and a healthy publication pipeline really change the game for you? Okay. All right, I'm going to hit the chat now. Let's see. Oh yeah, these are just more arguments for doing it. And we really want you to join. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to open the Q&A and I'm looking in the chat. Do you want me to answer Suzanne's? Yes. Let's see. Suzanne, hi Suzanne, says, I need to apply for summer research grant. Okay. So can people put hi? Let me stop sharing. Coaches, would you like to unmute and toss me questions that you want to make sure I get?
Sure thing.
Because
The first question that I
Hi,
have
Carla.
here. Hi, everyone. So exciting to have you all here. I have the first question, and my other two colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first one I have is Lauren. Two questions. First one, I'm very interested in the program, but will be on maternity leave starting in late summer. Would it make sense for me to wait for the next year in this case, and when I'm coming back from leave? I don't know if you want to answer that, but the second question is in regards to the program seems to emphasize that we should pay for this and not our universities. What if we can use startup funds from our university for the program, i.e., what am I missing by asking my university? Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Carla, thank you. That's Carla, our new program director. Yay. Okay, Lauren, these are such great questions. All right. If it were me and I was going to maternity in the summer, November, December, like, I don't know, June-ish, you still have like 6-7 months, maybe. I would do it now. The reason is because the program is heavier in the first 3 months than in the rest of the program. So you would be completing the first 3 months of the program where you actually do all the modules and are starting to learn all the new techniques. It's really like 3 months of that and 9 months of support around those practices. One, you'll go on maternity and you will have this community to come back to. And I think that could be really effective. So that totally up to you, but that would be what I would say. In terms of you should totally ask your university to pay for it. If you have startup funds, a lot of people pay for this program with startup funds. You're not missing anything. I think though that what I want people to realize is that sometimes you'll go and ask your department chair or your university, and they'll have this perception of you that is so good. They'll be like, why do you need that? You can do that yourself. And that is like, that's what we want to make sure that we want clients in the program who would pay for it or not, like that, who would pay for it or have their university pay for it. Either way, they're doing it, that kind of like attitude. But definitely, like, if you know that you can get funding for it, use your university funding, totally. And we are closing enrollment on Tuesday. So we really want to get you in and started. And so we will need to get your university funding, like if not by Tuesday, like definitely within the next couple of weeks. So that's also like one thing we recommend, is that for people who can do this, you pay and then you work out with your university how they're going to reimburse you. So that's another option. I'm just going to get this question from Naomi that's in the Q&A. She says, I'm European and worried that the times of Navigate will not work with my schedule. What is your experience with that? So Naomi, we actually only have one weekly call time that, we would love for you to show up for, right? Let's say like people are never going to go every week. It's 52 weeks. So, and Naomi, we have a special time. It's Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Eastern, like New York City time. That is our European call time. We made it because the Europeans in our program asked for an earlier time, which of course is then it lands like in mid-afternoon if you're in Europe, depending on where you are in Europe, right? But our 11:30 call time on Mondays was not working out for many Europeans because it was the evening. It was like 8 o'clock at night or 7:30. So Naomi, hopefully that is helpful. Carla, do you want to toss me any other questions from the chat that you want to make sure I get to?
Sure thing. The next question we had from Ness, it says, I'm a postdoc awaiting news on another postdoc that I applied for. I'd really like some tools to make writing more of a consistent habit and less of a mad rush and source of stress. But I am not sure that I want an academic career. And Navigate is a big financial commitment at a point where I don't know yet. I don't yet know if I'll have a job next year. Would you still recommend it, or are there other resources from Kathy that would be more fitting and more affordable?
Such a great question, Ness. I'm really glad that you asked, and maybe you're gone. So if you're watching the recording, here's the answer. It is a big investment if you don't know if you're going to have a job next year. So, what we have besides this that's available is, of course, our podcast, which we, put a lot of effort and love into. And Ness, you might just think about it's really up to you. Like, does the program teach you how to make writing a more consistent habit and less of like a binge and bust? Absolutely, it does. But you're going to want to really think hard about it because, if you're not sure about your situation next year, totally. Ariane says, when is the cohort starting? And I think I answered that live, but basically it starts it starts on Wednesday. So you join, it starts, and it's asynchronous. All the modules are asynchronous. Your access to the live parts of the program, which are the momentum mindset calls and the co-writing, that all happens. You can join those right away, as soon as you have enrolled. Carla.
Thank you. Yes, the next question is coming from Susan. And it states, I need to apply for a summer research grant to pay for this. Those are due December 1st. Is there an outline for the program starting in April, including costs, so that I can put that application in? I understand it will be different than what we have now.
Suzanne, I'm going to have to give you like the secret behind the scenes information for that one, because we are going to do a summer version, but it's not going to be the same. So maybe just Paulette, if you can remind me to email Suzanne. Basically, I'll give you the preview for anybody who's still listening to the recording or who's still here right now. We are revising the program. The program price is going up. We're going to pilot the revision in February, and then we'll release it to everyone in May, probably. But if you want to get the program at this price, this is the time to do it. So for Suzanne, who's going to apply for money and start in April, let's communicate by email so we can get information that you need. And we can totally facilitate that you request funding. We have some resources that we can share. Carlene, thank you for your beautiful comment. Elizabeth says, assuming that people are entering at the appropriate career level, are there any people for whom Navigate has not worked? Okay, cool. This is a great question. It sounds wonderful. And yet I'm curious about reasons why people drop out or fall off the schedule. Are there any criticisms that you have taken into consideration or tried to address since previous incarnations of Navigate? That's such a great question. So the reason I think that, there's many reasons that things happen to people, right? Right. Many reasons. So Elizabeth, people might drop out and come back because of the ebbs and flows of a semester. And it's not drop out. It's just like, I stopped coming to the Monday mindset calls because I got overwhelmed with other things. And then I came back in. And what we're encouraging, and that's why we have mindset calls every week and we have co-writing every day available to you. Although what we encourage people to do is once or twice a week for co-writing. We have these things as a consistent rhythm so that even if you got sick and had, can't come this week or something, travel or kid sick or all the things that derail us, you have this consistent drumbeat to come back to. And that's like what we're hoping to provide is that community that's going to be just like, you're good, come on back, and over the course of a year, everybody is going to have a moment where they step away from those calls and come back. Everybody. I mean, we don't even have one coach who delivers those calls all the time. We rotate through the coaches because it ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. Managing those ebbs and flows to be more even is part of what the program is about. So I'm sure that, well, a couple of things, people who don't do the modules, I think is also like the program's not going to work for you if you don't do it. And there's nobody sitting and telling you, you better go watch that module, so unless you are like ready to like go, spend an hour to 2 hours a week on learning about writing and then writing, then it won't work for you. So like, I think a lot of times like people who feel like I joined this program and I never got around to it, that's what we don't want. We want you to get around to it. Like we want you to be there doing it. Angelica says, would this system work for completing a book manuscript? It seems more geared towards articles. As long as you have a book, if your book is already like outlined and you're going, and what you need to do is get words on the page and chapters finished, I think it would work. It's not a book coaching program. So it's not, I mention articles because that's something that even if you're in a book field, usually you still write articles occasionally. So that's the reason that I talk about articles a lot. But if you're looking for a way to make sure you have time on your calendar so that you can get that book out, time for writing so that you can get the book out, I think it would definitely work. It's not like, I recommend Jane Jones's Elevate program if you want book coaching for the actual creation of your book. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how much time do the modules take? Sorry, I'm in the chat now, but you can interrupt me, Carla. Jenny says, how much time do the modules take? Will the modules increase my list of things to do? That's such a good question. The modules will take between, pretty much like 45 minutes to an hour a week. It will increase your list of things to do for a very short amount of time, about 3 weeks. And then what you will be doing in the modules is releasing yourself of things to do. So if you feel like you've got so many things to do, you can't spend an hour on your writing, if you're not ready to spend an hour learning how to make your writing better so that you can consistently write, it's not the program for you. Like you have to be ready for investing the time in it. But having said that, we're talking about, you're going to give 45 minutes to some modules and exercises, and you're going to get, I think, 3 to 5 hours a week of like liberated time if you follow our method. So, okay. We got that one.
I have
That is
the
a great
last question
question.
as being Estela's question, but I believe you already addressed it. If there's any other questions that we might be missing, make sure to include them in the chat, but I think that is it.
Great. Thank you, Carla. And thank you, everyone. Awesome. Yay. Okay. I think we got everything. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any other questions, I would love, you can always write here. Let me just put the Navigate link there, and then you can write. Let me make sure I don't make any mistakes. Thank you, Paulette. She did it. To support@kathymazak.com. Oh, and I just sent the link only to Carla. Hold on. Link. There's the Navigate enrollment link. Again, enrollment closes tomorrow. If you're going to work with the university to get funding, especially if you're going to work with the university to get funding, so you don't think you'll make the deadline tomorrow night, please write to support so that you're on our radar and we can help you. There will be a cutoff that for this program, like, it really is Tuesday, but if you think you can move your funds in the next couple weeks or so, like, we can let you sneak in. But after that, like, we're not offering in this version for the next year. So thank you, everyone, for coming. And it was wonderful to see you. Thank you, team, for being here. Thank you, Rocio, for being in the chat. Carla for tossing me questions. Paulette for holding down the fort. And would love to see you in Navigate.